right, everybody, welcome back to a long-awaited Sprites, Bytes, and Pixels. It feels like it's been forever, but we are back for episode 29. I have my co-host Wilson here. How's it going, Wilson? How have you been? How's life?
How you been? How you going, Robin?
That's good.
How's things?
It's good, man. I left my corporate job and now I'm doing video game and real estate full time. Well, video games full time, real estate on and off, mostly just to manage my own stuff. And yeah, trying out some new games. So I have a new game that I can talk about in terms of what I've currently been playing. So some fresh juice there. What about you?
I'm still on the whole. I don't know. I'm broken and I'm slowly trying to get better kind of deal.
Yeah.
I don't know if I said this last episode, but they did find out finally what's wrong with me. I have a torn disc.
Oh, it's painful.
Yeah, and I'm slowly going through the process of what the next step is, which is actually going to be an injection in my back of cortisone. So that's fun. So I'm going to be, slowly getting to that point. But right now, I think the next step is to do a virtual session with the doctor, the pain specialist, to kind of put me at ease, and he'll answer all my questions and blah 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 blah, and we'll go from there. So yeah, I'm not even at that point yet where I'm getting the needle. It's more just hey, this is what we're gonna do, and this is how we're gonna do it, and
Yeah, no, it's never like getting an ailment like that is never easy, but I'm just glad that you have at least a direction in terms of where you need to go in order to feel better. So,
sure.
the silver lining is hopefully you have this conversation, you have this consultation, and then things will be on the up and up for you.
Conversation, consultation.
Yep. Conservation. Yeah. Conversation, consultation, conservation. Triple C.
Masturbation.
Yes.
Masturbation.
100%. Hopefully that hasn't your back problem hasn't slowed that down. But
I'm doing it right now. Can't you? You can't tell?
Thank you. Oh yeah, no, I can definitely tell. This is supposed to be PG-13. Shit. Oh my god. Okay, so we haven't spoken in a while. So what have you been playing as of late, or to keep yourself busy?
Well, no, I'm gonna let you go first because you told me that you actually have some stuff you've been playing. You're actually doing something instead of I've been playing Fortnite and what's that mobile game you constantly play? Clash of Clans.
Okay, so big development.
Catan.
Big development. So I was playing Clash of Clans every single day, like religiously. I went to like India, I went to Bahamas, I went to the Caribbean, went to the States. Even if I was traveling, I would still play Catan at least once a day. That's how addicted I was to it. And
that's dedication, man.
I'm happy to say, as of like 3 weeks ago, I'm Catan sober. I haven't played Catan in like almost a month.
What?
Yeah,
you must be going through like withdrawal, man.
No, I didn't. It was weird because it's like I take a look at I try to take a look at my life, and I look at what my habits are, and I'm like, okay, is this productive to me being a better human being or a better person? If yes, continue it. If no, max it out. So
okay. So you're Marie Kondo is what you're saying. You're doing a whole Marie Kondo shit.
I don't even know, man. I gave up social media. So I like my personal social media. I'm not on Instagram anymore, not on Snapchat. The only social I'm on is Facebook and LinkedIn, and that's just for business. But all of my personal social, I've stepped away from that completely. I used to browse Reddit a lot. I've given up Reddit. And yeah, I just focus more on like just real life, real living, and trying to be as disconnected from the screen as much as possible. It's still tough, but I think, with Clash of Clans, it was just like anytime I had like 3 or 4 minutes that I needed to fill, I would just go Clash of Clans, collect my resources and do that stuff. So I cut that out about a month ago. So it's saving me $8 per month in subscription.
Do you miss it?
No, I don't. No.
At all? Like there's never a point where you're like, I'm gonna play Clash. Oh wait, no, I can't.
Well,
I'm not going to.
Sometimes it pops up because I was so used to just doing it. It's like smoking, right? When you give up smoking, not only do you have nicotine withdrawals, but you have the withdrawal of actually like picking up a cigarette. So for me,
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, me neither, but this is what I've heard. So for me with Clash of Clans, like sometimes I'll have my phone and I'll go through and all my stuff is in folders. So I have like an entertainment folder that has all my games, all my entertainment apps. So I'll go through there. I'm like, oh, let me go to Clash, and it's not there, but it's okay. I think my biggest thing was I was in a clan for like 5 years, the same clan, and I've stepped away from that completely. So that kind of feels weird because I used to talk to those people pretty frequently. But other than that, no, I stepped away, and I think last time we spoke, I said I beat God of War, and I stepped into a new open world action RPG, and
Let
that
me
is
guess. Let me guess.
okay.
New open world.
It's new to me.
Act. Yeah. Okay. Is it first person or is it third person?
Third person.
A new open world action RPG, new to you, but not to others. Kingdoms of Amalur.
No,
Biomute.
no. I don't know if you'll guess this one. It's pretty mainstream. It's very mainstream.
It's an action RPG.
I think that's what I would define it, like similar to Horizon, similar to God of War, like
Days
that.
Gone.
No, I'm just gonna tell you.
Okay.
Okay, so it's
Mad Max.
no, it's The Witcher 3.
Oh yeah. Okay. Right
Yeah.
on. I don't know why I didn't guess that.
Yeah.
You know what? I've never played The Witcher 3 either.
Okay.
I constantly tell myself, "Hey, go play The Witcher 3," but
Yeah.
I think it's so much that I'm not ready to take that plunge.
Well, for me, it's I watched the Netflix series and then I rewatch it again, and then I watched the movie that came out. I'm like, okay, I'm on a Witcher binge. Let me start this game, and I've been playing it. And I people might not like that I'm saying this, but to me, it's not like a huge standout. I think the controls are a little bit clunky. It's not as fluid as like a Horizon or a God of War. And it just feels old, I guess, is the best way that I can describe it. So it's been like similar to how I played Horizon the first time. It took effort for me to actually play this game, and that's what I'm doing with The Witcher right now. Is it's taking effort for me to pick up my controller and go play it. But I'm trying to give it like an honest go. So that's what I've been playing. It's been fun. I think I like the you haven't played it, but I like the aspect that it's very real time, so you can quickly shift between your different powers, your different swords. So you have a different sword for fighting humans, different one for fighting monsters, and it's all done in real time. So I like that, and it's a difficult game, which I love. I love difficult games. I've already died like multiple times,
I believe it. Yeah.
but every time I die, at least I learn how to be better next time.
Of course.
And yeah, I'm gonna give this a go. Try to finish this off, but I will say, like, I love replaying games that I've already played before, and I've been jonesing to try go back into the Lord of the Rings world and play Shadow of War or Shadow of Mordor. But I'm trying to push that to the back and try to finish Witcher first.
Well, don't make that become your next Clash of Clans where you just kind of push that away.
Yeah.
But did you ever play the second Witcher? Assassin, I think it's called like Assassin of Kings.
No, but I watched the YouTube video of like all the cinematics to try to get caught up on stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why you watched the cinematic.
Yes.
Wasn't for those gratuitous sex scenes.
Those were in Witcher 3. I don't know if
No,
they were
there's
really.
no. I've played and beaten Witcher 2
What?
Assassin
I
of
did not know
Kings.
that.
Yeah, and there's some, I don't want to say gratuitous, but there's definitely scenes where you can like clearly be like, yep, they're definitely having sex. Like,
Oh
hey,
man.
I actually think I've done that before.
Holy shit. That is insane.
It's yeah, it's probably the first game I ever played where there was focus on the sex scenes. Like I remember God of War. God of War was probably one of the first games, mainstream games I ever watched or played that had nudity in it.
What?
And I'm talking about the first God of War, so the one on PS2.
Okay.
That was where I kind of saw my first kind of nudity and mature themes and whatnot, but it didn't really focus on actual sexual activity. There were parts where you're like, okay, it looks like they just did that, but The Witcher took it like one step further, where you were like,
You saw it happen.
actually,
Yeah.
you were watching them like bone, and it was it was very, very different, seeing something like that. So I can imagine that the scenes in Witcher 3, which is, better graphics all around, how more realistic the feeling would be.
100%.
Um, for the combat though, I did hear that the combat is pretty basic compared to like other hack and slashers and games like that. I do know that there are um, ways to boost your character, like through tinctures and potions and
Yeah.
the like. But for the most part, like the combat is just kind of
It is. Like for the fighting, yes, but then you also have the option of like quickly cycling through your powers, and you can use different powers for different circumstances. So that adds a bit of a layer to it. But going from stuff like Horizon, Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, where you have so much more, I guess, uh, steps that you can do.
versatility.
Yeah, versatility in terms of what you can do when attacking people. And for
Yes,
me, like I feel like every game I play, whether it's Horizon, whether it's Ghost of Tsushima, or even God of War, I like using ranged attacks a lot. And you don't
same.
really get that with The Witcher. At least at the stage that I'm in, I don't have a bow and arrow. I have like his magic powers. But I remember when I was playing Ghost, I would before I run in and like attack a village, I would try to snipe as many people with a sniper. If I was with God of War, I would like hit somebody with an axe, freeze them, go focus my attention on the other guys, take the axe back, repeat the process. But I can't do that with The Witcher.
How much time would you say you put into The Witcher so far?
Not a ton. I probably put in like maybe 6 to 8 hours.
You've still got a ways ahead of you.
Yeah.
I think what makes people like The Witcher is as how in depth it is. Like, there's a lot of like stuff to do, a lot of places to explore. I don't think it's the focus is more on like the combat; it's more on the world itself. And when you grab The Witcher 3, did you grab like the DLC as well?
Yeah, so I have the complete edition.
Good.
Yeah.
So the oh god, not Heart of Stone, but the other one. The one where
Wild
you're in
Hunt?
like this, huh?
The Wild Hunt?
The Wild Hunt is actually the name of the Witcher 3 game.
Oh, okay.
Um, but there's two DLCs as well. It's like Heart of Stone or Throne of Stone, Stone of Throne, something like that.
Yeah.
And the other one, which is like the DLC that everybody talks about, where you're in this like um fairy tale world. Uh, you know what? Give me a second. I'm just gonna quickly check. So it's actually Heart of Stone and Blood and Wine. Blood and
Oh,
Wine
yes.
is the DLC that I'm talking about.
Checking it right now.
Because I actually have The Witcher 3 for PS4, and I've got both DLCs, and they're all in their own separate boxes. So
Okay.
that's kind of fun. But yeah, the I already forgot what I called it. Blood and Wine. Blood and Wine is like this weird fairy tale mystical kingdom that kind of changes the atmosphere of The Witcher 3 with its more like political intrigue, and it's a very mature storyline. Like, do you notice that? And I don't mean mature as in like nudity and
Yes.
language. It's mature as just in like mature themes, like just like a lot of politics and a lot of like, I don't know, emotional um just emotional decisions that someone younger wouldn't really be able to understand or comprehend in a way that we can.
Yeah, like even the one of the first scenes, it's Geralt, it's Yennefer, Vasimir, and then Ciri, who's the girl, and it's
Yeah,
it's
no,
just him trying to work on making her a better person. And the way that you can do that is by your actions. So the responses that you give her, I can definitely see where you're coming from in terms of taking like a mature look or approach to the storyline. But enough about The Witcher. What have you been playing?
honestly, Robin, I've been playing a ton. I've been playing and beating a ton.
How many have you beaten
So
this year? Would you say?
how many what
How many games have you beaten this year?
this year?
Yeah.
A fair bit. I honestly don't keep track of them.
Okay.
I don't really, number them. I know some people will be like, "This is my 70th game I beat this year. This is my 71st game I beat this year," and
Yeah.
I don't. I take a picture or a
Yeah.
screenshot, but that's really as far as it goes. I don't have a file saying games I've beaten or anything like that.
Yeah.
So once in a while, I'll be going through my pictures or screenshots I've taken just out of boredom, and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, I remember that." But it's
Yeah.
not like a big announcement or anything like that.
Okay.
One of the first games I've played since our last one was Kazi and the Wild Masks.
Okay.
This is for like what I'll also be doing is I'll probably show like screenshots or gameplay. Um, so that's probably what people will be seeing
Hmm.
when I edit this video. It's kind of like a Donkey Kong Country style game. I got a lot of DKC vibes from it. I died a lot. It's
Like,
a very, very tricky platformer with some crazy situations, very creative. I really like the music.
mhm.
Only problem with it, even though it was challenging, I completed it in about I want to say 6 or 8 hours between
Wow, that's
that.
quick.
Yeah,
Good game.
but I'm also I don't want to toot my own horn because I'm not like Mario Maker extreme level good at platforming games, but I'm pretty damn great at platforming games. If I do say so myself. Um, I think we may have said this before, but I saw people saying that like Donkey Kong Country 2 was a really challenging game. I never found it a difficult game, so that kind of tells me right there that I'm pretty good at platformers,
There you go.
and I'm also one of those people that kind of try and tries again. Like
Nice.
I try to push myself.
I get pissed off when I die too much and I give up.
I like eventually I'll get to a point where I'm like, oh, okay, you know what? Put this down. I'll try another time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a great time with that. It's a really good game, really a lot of fun. Unfortunately, not as long as I would have liked, but it does set itself up for a sequel. So
Okay.
I would like something like that.
Sweet.
Next one I was playing, actually, I played this a couple days ago. It was only like another 4 or 5 hour game, which I was surprised for it to be, but that was Mystic Bell. So Mystic Bell, kind of like a Metroidvania in a way, but also, did you ever play games like Maniac Mansion or I don't know, just games where you like walk around with items and you have to use those items in certain areas to like solve puzzles?
Like Link to the Past had a component of that, didn't it? Like the puzzle
Kind
component.
kind of. Link to the Past was
A
more
God
like
of
an
War
act.
does too. Like you have to pick up spheres sometimes that are all over the place and put it into the right holding component in order to open up the next passageway to walk through.
Something like that. Yeah, I guess I could say it's something like that. It it's like you have an inventory, but you can only hold so much on your person at one time.
Oh,
There are
okay.
all these chests, kind of like Resident Evil in a way. All these chests that are scattered around the world, and you can use those chests to kind of like I don't know, transport goods or pick up goods. So if you say you drop like a hammer, I didn't think you have to get a hammer, but you drop a hammer in a treasure chest,
Hmm.
you go to another treasure chest, that hammer will be in there. So you don't
Okay.
have to carry everything on you. And it kind of has this like, you know, where do you use this item to like solve this puzzle and like get to another part of the area or get a new item or stuff like that. There's not a lot. I know it sounds like I'm saying it, but there's not a lot of depth in this game. You do level up, but you level up pretty quickly.
Mhm.
Um, I got to like the top level um, in a pretty quick time, so I was top level for a good chunk of the game.
Nice.
Um, and yeah, you learn some like new spells that will help you traverse, but um, it's not a lot. But I did have a lot of fun with it. It's
Nice.
done by Way Forward, who do a lot of pretty cool games. Yeah, Mystic Bell. I had a little good time with it.
Nice.
The Danganronpa. I played the first one, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna play the second one.
Wait, is the
It's like a
first
visual.
one Ultra Despair Girls on PS Vita?
You are close. It's like Trigger. I want to say it's Trigger Happy Havoc, but no. It's Trigger. Yeah, no, it is. It's Trigger Happy Havoc. The Ultra Despair one, I believe, is it might even be number. No, that's Harmony. Ultra Despair Girls, I believe, is a Vita like spin-off thing.
Okay.
That actually, so this has like all the extras in it. So the Ultra Despair actually might be on here as like a side offering.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Danganronpa is a really cool like visual novel game. You have these students who are in an academy, and they're told they have to kill each other. Because the academy kind of gets locked down. There's no way out. The doors are all locked, and they're told, okay, you have to kill each other, and whoever kills somebody, once a body is found, an announcement is made. You do a bit of investigating. You go to a trial, like a court trial, and if the killer gets away with it, everybody dies.
It's like Among Us.
Kind of.
Sounds like Among Us.
If they guess who the killer is, the killer dies, and everybody else just kind of continues living.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the premise of the novel. Like there's always, it's not like the outcome will always be the same. Like it's very linear because it's a visual novel. So it's like, eventually, you will figure out who the killer is and whatnot. Like it's never like, everybody's going to die because, then the game would be over.
Yeah.
But it's got these like really cool ways to do the trial. I'll show this once again in the video so people can see like what I'm talking about, because it's really neat, like the way that the trial is done. It's very what's the word I'm thinking of? You ever play Persona?
No.
Okay. The Persona series, especially 4 and 5, are known for kind of like their just how rad they are, and how like just how like how like I don't want to say interesting, because interesting sounds stupid, but like they're just very like, wow, this is like, you ever play a game and you listen to music and you're like, wow, this is really, really awesome music.
Yeah.
Danganronpa has kind of that thing going for it. It's got some crazy music. It's got some really interesting kind of like theatrics. It's got like a really good storyline. So it's just like boom in your face, and it's just rad and dope and cool.
Yeah.
Like all three of those in a really good storyline. And that's kind of like the second one. The second one kind of takes that approach and adds more layers to it, and it's a really, really good storyline. Eventually I will move on to the third one and go from there. Nice. Finally, last thing I'm going to talk about, Biomute. I am actually playing Biomute. I started it 3 days ago.
Isn't that on PS5?
No, it's PS4. Only PS4. I'm playing it on my PS5. It's a kind of like what you are doing. It's an action RPG, open world, and you play as like these anthropomorphic animals, and just kind of explore the world. It looks like there's a lot to it. You can create your weapons, you can mold your character, you can like even like during your creation stage, like your character creator, there's a lot of different things you can do, or elements you can do for your character, just in their traits, their skills, their type, like just their appearance. It's a lot. It was actually very surprising when it was like, okay, this is your next step. Yeah. Okay, this is your next step. Okay, this is your next step. And I'm just like, can we start the game already? Yeah. But I don't know. From what I hear, a lot of people weren't big fans of it, and I can see a little bit why. It's a little bit janky in a way, and it's a little bit like choppy,
Mhm.
but I do appreciate what it's doing, and I'm still gonna stick with it and see where it goes from there because it's a really nice world to explore.
Yeah.
I am playing. I actually am playing more games. I'm pretty sure I've beaten more games since, but
Well,
I've already
this is a
gone on
good
and on
this
about
is
my
a good
games.
starting point. I think like it ties into what our topic is for today, and that is physical games versus digital games. You
For
named
sure.
off like a whole bunch of them today, and every game you named off, you had a physical copy of. So if I were to take a guess and see what's in your background, I would say that you're somebody that prefers physical games over digital games. Would you say that's correct?
Oh, absolutely. I would always go for a physical title over a digital title.
Okay, and why is that?
Why?
Yep.
So I can show you. If I can't be like, hey, Robin, look at Biomute and just give me a second, I'll show you. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
it's just I can show you what the game is, what it's about, all that, instead of like sending you a YouTube link or a Steam page.
It also displays better in the collection, having a
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I think like even with me, there's instances where I prefer having physical and instances where I prefer having digital. So I like to collect like sealed stuff is what I like to collect. Collector's editions is what I like to collect. So when I bought Final Fantasy VII Remake, I bought the big Harley Davidson. I forgot what the hell that thing is called, but I bought one of those. And there was no chance in hell that I was going to open that. So I kept
Yeah.
that sealed, and then I bought a digital copy of Final Fantasy VII Remake. And you guys know I hate that game a lot. It's a fucking pain in the ass to try to beat. Um,
Really?
yeah,
Okay, no, I didn't know that. I didn't know
yeah.
you hated that
I have
game.
to like if you it takes willpower for me to go into Witcher. It takes like excruciating self-loathing pain for me to go in and put in like 30 extra minutes into Final Fantasy VII. It's because I love the original so much, and this new version, I guess, to some people it seems like it's an improvement, but to me, it's so repetitive. Holy fuck, it's so annoying. Anyways, back to my topic. So I will buy physical copies of something and most likely keep it sealed so I can display it and add it to the collection, and then I'll buy a digital copy that I can actually play. Or another reason why I'll buy digital is I play a lot of MLB. So MLB The Show is one of my favorite sports games because I'm a huge baseball fan. And when you buy a new MLB The Show, it's like $70, $80 in the store, and there's no way that I'm going to spend that. So I usually go into the PlayStation store and I take a look at their deals for digital releases or whatever. And whenever there's like a good deal on like an MLB The Show, I'll just buy that and I'll update the rosters myself. So those are two reasons that I personally would gravitate more towards digital. Can you think of any?
Yeah, several actually. Um, Nintendo, the Nintendo eShop is a great place to find some pretty good deals. Uh, they're always having these sales, and I can pick up a game sometimes that's 30, $40 elsewhere for like, you know, 30 cents. It doesn't happen often, but sometimes you will get a pretty good deal. Uh, so I've got a bunch of games that I got on sale that I wouldn't be able to get in a physical form,
Mhm.
um, or I wouldn't get for that price if I grabbed it in physical form. The another reason is that I love my indie games. I always grab, like I've showed you. I'm pretty sure some of the games I showed you, you've probably never seen before
Never.
because they're kind of like indie titles,
Yeah.
and that's kind of my jam. But a lot of times these indie titles aren't available on physical form. Unless you go through like limited run games or super rare games or special reserve or platinum or all of these like dudes who are or women, all these dudes and dudettes who go out of their way to make form or make games in a physical form. Unfortunately, you're not always going to find um, certain games in a physical form. It's just not going to happen. Like, I don't think there's ever going to be, especially now, we're never going to be in a world where every game that is digital can also be physical as well. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
Um, so a lot of these games that I have, whether it be on my PS4, my PS3, my Switch, my Xbox 360, my Xbox One, all of those consoles have like games that I've installed on them from physical discs, but at the same time, they also have games on them that are in a digital form because I can't really get them anywhere else. I can't get them at a store. Like they're only available digitally.
Yeah.
I do run into situations sometimes where I will get a game in a digital form, and later on, sometimes way later on, it will come out in a physical form.
Yeah. I think like, you know, this while you were talking, you brought up another thought in my mind, and that is that we're both in a good position where we have a lot of space to store physical video games. But let's say you're somebody that lives in an apartment and you love video games, but you just don't have the space for it. It may make more sense for you to just buy, you know, games physically that hold some level of sentimental value to you, and then download digitally everything else that you want to play because it's tough. But I think the one thing, at least from my perspective, I guess, because since I've been buying and selling games for so long, is that when you're buying a digital game, you can never resell it. But if you buy a physical game and let's say you beat this game, you can at least go back. You can either trade it into GameStop for 25 cents or put it up on Kijiji and like sell it for $15, $20 and recoup some of your costs. But you can't really do that with digital. And I think, you know, I take a look at my nephew. He's 14 and he loves video games. And for him, he prefers to buy games digitally most of the time, unless it's a game he really wants and it's like a special edition. So whenever there's an NBA 2K that's coming out, he'll most likely buy a physical copy that's like a special edition, and then buy a digital copy that he's actually going to play, and he keeps the physical one sealed. I wonder where he learned.
Yeah, not sure.
Yeah.
It's actually, you're right. With the digital versus physical argument that's been, going around for forever, that was always like the primary example right there. Well, you can't sell a digital form once you've bought it to somebody else. You can only do that with physical. That was the main argument. However, since we've gone into a more evolved digital format now, like there's way more digital video games out there than there ever was. We've gotten into different arguments, but yes, the whole I can't sell something I buy in digital was always like a main focus.
Yeah.
It's never really bothered me though, because
well, you never sell. Look at your
sell. Yeah, I don't sell my stuff.
Yeah, exactly. At least, but like at least you can display it, so you have an opportunity to display it. I think, but I think like in general, when you take a look at the next generation of gamers, I think they just prefer digital. Like you take a look at the way that the world is trending. It's trending towards the digitization of everything. So instead of being an art collector, you can now become an NFT collector, which is just art, digital platform.
Don't get me started on NFTs. Oh my God, I will go.
You can be a physical game collector, or you can become a digital game collector. And this is something we haven't spoken about, but let's say you have a group of friends. Like, when we were younger, I would buy some games, my friends would buy games, and then we would trade them once we finished, and then the other person could play. Now, if you have like a PS4, I don't know if it's probably the same thing with the PS5, but you can share games on multiple consoles, right? Yep. So you at least have that option, which I think is another pro for digital. But
like a family plan in a way.
Yeah. Or you have a buddy. He's set up as like a secondary console. Yours is a primary, and you get access to those games.
Yep, that's right. I think we actually have that. I have a PS4 upstairs that lately I've been actually using for remote play, which is a wonderful, wonderful function where I can play my PS5 games on my PS4. Yeah, I know. You're definitely not going to get the same like visual quality.
Yeah.
But it is still a really neat function. I mostly play it because I mostly use it though because I'm playing my my PS4 games on my PS5 anyways. So I'll just kind of like stream it upstairs. So yeah, we kind of have that family thing going on where this is the primary console, and then upstairs is like the secondary console. But because they're linked together,
Nice.
I can still use that function.
That's awesome. So I think we've been touting the horn of digital is not actually that bad. But I know, like I guess maybe when we take a look at physical copies of games, to me they just hold more sentimental value. I guess maybe it's because I'm older-ish than the current crowd, so I'm 32 right now. I remember going into stores and I remember actually physically picking up games and actually being excited about them. I remember getting, like Walmart flyers in my mailbox, or like Zeller's flyers, and seeing a new game come out and calling up my
Yep.
game store, being like, "Hey, do you have this?" Waiting in line, going in and picking it up physically. I think nowadays kids just don't maybe have that same level of excitement. Like you take a look at like the Metroid Dread release, like the physical release of Metroid Dread. Like there was a huge lineup for games like this, or even like the NES Classic or the SNES Classic. But the people that are lining up are typically older dudes like me and you. Very rarely will you find like young kids that have that same level of enthusiasm as I guess we do.
I think it's just because like we lived that world. Like we know we we know what the experience is, so we've kind of accepted that, hey, if we've done it once, we can do it again. Kids on the other hand, can are like, I can get it elsewhere. Like, why do I have to go through all of these? Why do I have to jump through all these hoops, to
Yeah,
do that? Where we're just like, hey, you know what? Why not?
yeah,
I've done it many times before.
yeah.
Why not another time?
Yeah. I mean, like even when you take a look at shopping, shopping trends are now gravitating more towards online shopping as opposed to in-store shopping as well. So
Yep.
even the whole act of purchasing a physical game, you don't physically have to go into the store anymore. It gets shipped to you. Like when I got my Metro Dread, I got one of the collector's editions, and
So did I.
it was sold out locally, like in every store in my city, a city over. So I live in Brampton, and I finally found one that had pre-orders available in Guelph, and that's like an hour away each way. And I was like, oh, do I really want to make the hour trek? And I was like, screw it. And then somebody posted that Metroid Dread was available online on Best Buy. So I
I think that
went,
was me.
yeah, I went in, I checked out within like 5 minutes, and then it came in the mail. I'm
Hmm.
like, I could have spent the 2, 3 hours going through that whole process, or I spent 5 minutes and I still get the physical game.
Yeah, you get that peace of mind without having to put in all that work.
Yeah.
Like in the same way. Like I don't really go anywhere to get like new stuff. I'm usually, Amazon or
Yeah.
Best Buy, sometimes Walmart,
Yeah.
but you know, it's all online. I don't really go to a store to buy a new game. I'll go
Yeah.
to a store, like a game store to get like retro stuff, but the newer stuff, it's usually all online now. One
Yeah.
of the games I bought recently was Deathloop because I saw it was on sale on Amazon, and I was like, you know what? Why not?
Yeah.
Um, that's kind of like how I do my shopping now. I'm not waiting in lines or stuff. I would love to. It's
Yeah.
just it's a little bit harder now.
How do you think the future of video gaming and video game collecting is going to go? Do you see that people are going to be more susceptible to just getting digital video games, or do you think that people are going to always like people will want to physically have a copy of games to
Well,
display?
look at the PS5. When the PS5 was released, we had two options. We had the digital version that didn't have a disk drive at all,
Yeah.
and we had the disc version, which has a disk drive. Um, so I feel like they're recognizing that there's going to be physical demand, and we have all of these services. Like when LRG came out,
Mhm.
their whole thing was getting games that were only available in a digital format into a physical format. And there were other people that kind of jumped on board with that. And there's newer ones constantly coming out, like newer companies always constantly coming out that are like, hey, we can do that too. We'd like to take that digital game or a game that was only available digitally before and make that into a physical form, whether it be on Switch or PS4 or PS5,
Yeah.
sometimes even Xbox One.
Yeah.
So I think there will always be a demand for physical. I don't know if it will be forever, because forever is a long time. But at least, until I get old, I think we're going to be okay with our physical stuff. Because we like physical. Well, there's so many reasons to appreciate that physical,
Yeah.
and just the experience, the display, the pictures, the cover art,
Yeah.
just the whole experience of opening that game for
Yeah.
your first time. I'll always love that. I'll always
Yeah.
love being able to rip off that wrap
Yeah.
and
Smell that new game smell.
crack. Yeah, that new game. Yeah, that new game disc smell.
Yeah.
Delicious. Uh,
Chemicals all up in my nostrils.
yeah, I'm all about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think we'll always have that.
Yeah.
Or at least for a long time.
I think what's disappointing though is like to your point about the PS5 digital versus CD. So yes, you have some cost savings for a digital only edition, but like what I don't understand is the price of a game is the same whether you purchase digitally or you purchase physically. Like if
Yeah,
I were to take a look at it, yes, the cost of maybe the case, the CD, the manual is not a lot, but the cost of transporting it from wherever it was produced to where it's going, there's a lot of supply chain there. There's a lot of logistics, which can add to whatever the total cost of the game is. So
absolutely.
I would hope that it's never going to happen. But my thought process would be is if games are being offered digitally, that they might be a little bit cheaper than physical. But I think they understand that people are just mentally ready to spend $80 on a game, whether it's digital or physical, and regardless, the price is always going to be the same.
And we've had that discussion before where I talked about the Witness. It was um a huge game that I wanted, and it's never been available in physical form. It's only been available digitally, and eventually I just kind of bit the bullet and I paid money for it, and I paid like what it was worth, which was like 30-40 bucks. And I don't do that with digital games. I've never done that. If I'm getting a digital game, it's always on sale. I
Yeah,
think the most I've ever paid besides the Witness for a digital game was like, you know, um, 15 bucks, if that. Like, I don't really like paying heavy money for something I'm only going to get in a digital form.
yeah,
I will give, uh, I will give exception to the Jackbox games packs,
yes, yes,
because those are also like 30-40 bucks, but I don't know. There's something about them where you just like there's no way to get them, but there's
yeah,
something that everybody needs, for a great party.
yeah.
And everybody has nobody. If people that haven't heard of the Jackbox Games packs,
It's so fun.
they're really good. Like back in the day, one of the PS1 games that was out there was called You Don't Know Jack, and it was like a trivia game show that um was very trendy. It went on kind of like um it was more modern questions, but they were very clever with the way that they did the questions. And it was just like all about trivia and knowledge and stuff. But just the way that it was presented was really awesome. And the company that did this, Jackbox Games, I don't know if they were Jackbox Games before that, but they've become Jackbox Games. They um, they've pushed themselves, and they've since evolved into all of these other types of party games. And the cool thing about them is that you can play them on your phone. So you kind of use your phone as your controller.
Yeah,
Um, and there's all of these different types. There's drawing games, trivia games. Um, there's like a charades types games, and I think there's like 6 different packs, and each pack has like 5 games on them, but they're really, really addicting games. Anybody that hasn't played them, definitely check them out. Robin, I know, has probably, yeah, Robin's played them.
oh yeah.
I've played them. I've played them at so many parties, and a lot of times, like it will be the highlight of that party because of just how
They're so goofy.
zany.
Yeah,
Yeah, just how zany some of those games are.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, I went on a kind of a tangent there with Jackbox games.
No, we're good. We're good. So I think we covered a broad variety of topics when it comes to physical versus digital. Was there anything that you want to touch on that we haven't?
So when we were talking about physical versus digital, I did want to mention that sometimes there are games that are only available in digital format, so that's the only reason you have to get them. But uh, I was going to make the example of like if it had been a year ago, I would have made an example of like Scott Pilgrim versus the World. This is a game, a really good beat 'em up game with a really good soundtrack that only came out in a digital form. And because of like copy or not like rights, uh, the game kind of went away. It was removed from the digital shops. So you couldn't even purchase it. Limited run games eventually, I guess, got the rights to Scott Pilgrim versus the World and made it into a physical form. So I can't even use Scott Pilgrim as an example for, you know, why digital is good. I'm not even sure if it's going to be in digital form again. There's a few other games that are only available in digital format. I guess what I'm saying is that to put a game only in digital format, there's no guarantee that that game's going to survive. With a physical game, there's a chance that you'll be able to obtain it. If it might be an expensive game, but there's a chance you're going to be able to obtain it. With a digital game, there's a chance that eventually it's going to disappear. And besides Scott Pilgrim versus the World, there was a Ninja Turtles game that was eventually removed. There was a Avatar Legend of Korra game that was eventually removed from the digital stores. You can't get it anywhere, and it was never released on physical form. So to only keep forms on or games on a digital format, there's a chance that eventually that game won't be accessible at all. Kind of like PT in a way. Remember PT?
No.
PT?
No.
Robin, PT, the Silent Hills trailer, the Silent Hills demo.
Wasn't for the PS4.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I remember that.
Eventually, if you try now, I don't think you're able to play it anymore.
Even the demo?
Yeah.
What?
You can't. I have it on my PS4.
Yeah.
But I can't play it. I can't install it. I can't do anything with it. It's just there on my PS4 saying, "Hey, I'm here, but you can't play me anymore."
What?
So having something in a digital format, like the designers or developers are able to very quickly say, "Hey, no more." With a physical game, it's a little bit more difficult for them to be able to be like, "Hey, you can't play this anymore."
Yes, I see what you mean.
So that's another reason why I kind of appreciate physical over digital. A lot of times with physical games, you're going to have to do an update on them, because I find that with a lot of physical games, the developers or publishers or whatever kind of release it, and then they're like, "Oh wait, we have to fix this and this and this and this." So when the game comes out, you also have an update patch that is like 70 gigabytes long.
Yeah.
That kind of fixes everything about that physical game. So sometimes when you're getting a physical game, you still have to have like a digital approach to it as well.
Gotcha.
It's a weird world we live in.
It is a very weird world. The next weirdness I want this world to have is like super immersive virtual reality. That's what I want.
I know, but we've had this conversation. That means that you still have not played a PSVR or an Oculus Rift, I'm guessing.
I played PSVR. It's immersive for sure, but it doesn't feel like I'm in that world.
What did you play?
I played the gun shooting game, Fall Zone. The one that comes with it with the gun.
Yeah. I had it over here. It's Shadow Zone.
It's not Kill Zone. It's the other one. It's the one that comes like
Farpoint.
Yes.
Yes.
It was immersive, but it was still like a little bit clunky. and you have to use the buttons to move around. So like on the gun, you have to use the buttons to actually move around. But I want VR to get to a point where it's like you just like intertwine with it using a chip in the back of your head.
That's terrifying. What is wrong with you?
I just want to join the Matrix, man.
Yeah, you're like, I want to be able to like implant stuff in my body and be a cyborg.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly what I want.
You should try Robinson the Journey. That might be something you would enjoy. Unfortunately, it's one of the more pricier PSVR titles.
Mhm.
And the kicker, it's one of the only games that I can't play on the PS5.
Why?
It's just there's like 7 games that won't work on the PS5, I think, or maybe, and I think Robinson the Journey is one of them.
In the Journey.
Because the funny thing is, I got when I got my PS5, they said, hey, just message us and we can, like Sony said, hey, message us or give us your information and we can send you an adapter so you can hook up your PSVR to your PS5. Yeah. I hooked up my PSVR to the PS5, popped in Robinson, and it said this game was incompatible. I'm like, oh, great. So none of my PSVR games are compatible to the PS5. But then I went online and no, it turns out the only game that I tried was the only one, or one of the only ones that doesn't work on the PS5.
That is nuts.
So I was a little disappointed because it's one of the better PSVR games, at least in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was fun, but I felt like it was more of a novelty than like an immersive experience. So hopefully, in the next 40 years or more, knock on wood, of life that I have, that I can experience my goal of just transmitting my body and my brain into a video game.
And then you'll be digital format.
Yeah, then I'll never die. If you think about it, I can be an NPC in Skyrim, just walking around.
I just like throw apples at you and I'd give you cheese wheels.
Okay, perfect. Amazing. Cool. So we wrapped up quite a few topics. We just hit our 1 hour marker on our episode 29. So it's great connecting with you again, Wilson. It's been a while since we did our last SBP, so we'll pick up the pace on these again.
Likewise.
Yeah, but it was a good experience. Hope everybody enjoyed this episode, and we will catch you guys next time. Peace.
Spub up.